and today I will take you through the 5 most popular and widely used tools to analyze case studies on strategy. Let's begin with understanding what kind of cases come under the banner of strategic cases. It could be a case where you need to rationally decide to make or buy a component of your product. It could be deciding on whether to enter a specific market or not, starting a new product or a new service line, or even extending it. The cases could also be regarding expansion and diversification into different industries or customer segments. It may be related to certain internal development strategies with respect to production, operations, and sales. Cases discussing about the move towards a hollow structure through outsourcing. It could also include the 4 Ps and 7 Ps of product and services marketing, along with certain merger and acquisition strategies. And even cases discussing the issue of centralization or decentralization. Strategies adopted by companies can change the course of their operations and reach, along with growth and profitability. Hence, they are extremely important. Typically, we use the following tools to analyze such cases, as they all give a direction towards which the company should move. The top 5 tools used are Porter's 5 forces, Porter's value chain, PESTEL analysis, Ansoff's matrix, and BCG matrix. The Porter's 5 forces model is a very well established model or framework for understanding and analyzing the nature of the competitive environment. Now, Porter had emphasized that few industries and few positions within an industry are a lot more attractive than others. Hence, an important component to a business strategy is the analysis of industry attractiveness. Porter's 5 forces model identifies these 5 competitive forces, as you can see on screen, them being competitive rivalry, the bargaining power of suppliers, threat of new entrants, power of buyers, and threat of substitutes. This helps determine the level of profitability for an industry or for a company within an industry. Let's quickly go through these competitive forces. The first one is the rivalry. So, rivalry amongst competitors. Here, high rivalry will induce firms to reduce price and to improve quality in order to maintain and increase their market share. This may reduce the profit margins. Usually the intensity of existing competition is highest when competitors are similar sized, the growth in the market is relatively slow, and there is lesser or no differentiation between the product offerings. Moving on to the threat of new entrants. Now, new entrants into a particular market will definitely bring along extra capacity, but parallelly will intensify competition. So the threat from new entrants will depend upon the strength or the strengths of the barriers to entry. And these are certain sources of barriers to entry. Let's just quickly go through them. First one being economies of scale and other cost advantages, access to distribution network, industry and government policies. There's product differentiation and capital requirements, which could also be a part of a barrier to entry. Now here, when you're analyzing, what you need to be seeing is that what kinds of barriers exist in the market that you want to enter into, to what extent do they limit entry, and the third question, which is quite crucial, is answering, are we trying to enter the market or are we trying to keep new competitors out? Moving on to the power of buyers. This is the bargaining power of customers, and usually it is highest when there is a concentration of buyers, when there are alternative sources of supply available, and when the switching cost between products or between brands is much more lower. The threat of substitutes. Now, this threat could be across industries or it could be within an industry. And as Porter had explained, substitutes limit the potential returns, and hence it becomes a prerogative for us to analyze the substitutes. So what do we generally analyze here is the extent, number, and the types of substitutes that are available in the market. Moving on to the bargaining power of suppliers, and it is usually greatest when there are fewer suppliers, when there are few substitutes, and when the switching cost between the products or between the brands are a lot more high. So all of these put together can help determine the overall profit potential of a particular industry. So a company can strategize accordingly. Another important tool to analyze case studies on strategy is the Porter's value chain. Now, Porter's value chain helps determine whether and how a firm's activities contribute towards its competitive advantage, whether it's a cost advantage or a quality advantage. So this approach involves breaking the firm activities down into two main heads, them being primary activities, which includes inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and services, and support or secondary activities, which comprises of firm infrastructure, technology development, human resource management, and procurement. So let's see each of these activities and look at the ways in which companies can strategize under each of these activities to attain a cost or a quality advantage. Beginning with inbound logistics, which includes receiving, storing, and handling raw material. And a strategy such as just in time could be analyzed, which could give them a cost advantage. Operations include transformation of raw materials into finished goods and services. Labor-related strategies, which could give a cost advantage, could be discussed within this. Outbound logistics include storing, distributing, and delivering finished goods to customers. Hence, outsourcing decisions for cost advantage could be an issue which could be discussed. Marketing and sales, which could include market research and the 4 P's of marketing, which could give both cost as well as quality advantage. And services, which usually includes all those activities that occur after the point of sale. So installation, repair, etc. All of them would be a part of services. So therefore, strategies that can improve the quality of the service could be discussed within this particular activity. Similarly, for support activities, the first one, which is firm infrastructure, it talks about how the firm is organized. So centralization versus decentralization could be a strategy that could be worked well under this. Technology developments refers to how the firm uses technology. So questions such as should they invest more in technology, and if yes, then which one, could be discussed under this particular activity. Under human resource development or management, how people contribute to the competitive advantage can be discussed. And procurement, which is purchasing. Now here it need not be only purchase of material, it could also be purchase of, let's say, a factory premise or a land, etc. All of that could also come under the head of procurement. So strategy of where to buy a particular factory premise to retain or retain cost advantage could be discussed. Thus, basically, this tool can help analyze strategic cases related to operations of a firm and to understand how each of these departments can contribute to the competitive advantage of the firm. One of the popular techniques to analyze the macro environment is the PESTEL analysis. This analysis divides the business environment into 6 subsystems, namely political, economic, social, technology, ecology or environmental, and legal. These are the factors that affect the organizations but are outside of their control. So this analysis is particularly good at identifying whether and why certain markets will be expected to grow in the future. The Ansoff's matrix shows possible strategies for products and markets, thus helping organizations conclude on the next best strategy for not only sustaining in the market but also to expand into newer ventures, product portfolio, etc. So once the organization has worked on or identified its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, it would want to develop future strategies to exploit these strengths and opportunities and to minimize threats and weaknesses. So the Ansoff's matrix can be used to show the alternatives. As you can see here, the 2 parameters on which the matrix is built is markets and products. And these are the strategies which you can see in these 4 quadrants. Let's begin with the first one, which is market penetration. Now, this is where the firm seeks to maintain or increase its share of its existing product in the existing markets. Here, the strategies are based on developing and launching new products or making product enhancements which are offered to the existing market. Under this, strategies are based on finding newer markets for existing product. So when you talk about new markets, it could be either new customer segments or it could be new markets geographically. And finally, diversification, which could be related or unrelated. That means moving or diversifying into a related industry or to an unrelated industry, or moving into new markets with completely new products. So launching new products into new markets. Now, this could be something which has maximum risk, but nevertheless is an option for a company to move to its next best position. The BCG matrix is another popular tool to analyze marketing and strategy case studies. It's used in competitor analysis and it looks at the position of individual products or product lines in the market sector they compete in. The products are assessed on the basis of relative market share and market growth, and through this, organizations can assess if they have a balanced product and market portfolio, helping them strategize further for each of the products. So you can see that there are 4 quadrants mentioned here. The companies need to place the products that they have in each of these quadrants based on these 2 factors, which is the market share and the market growth. Once they place the products in each of these quadrants, they can go ahead with further analysis and strategizing. So let's begin with the first one, which is cash cow products. As you can see here, the products in this quadrant have a relatively high market share in a low growth market. These are usually cash generators for the organizations and are profitable in nature. The recommended strategy for products under this quadrant would be to hold on to them and build on them further. Star products have a relatively high market share in a high growth market. They are usually market leaders and they have the potential of becoming cash cows at some point of time. The strategy here is also similar to that of cash cows, which is to hold on to the investment and build further on them. Question marks have a relatively low market share in a high growth market. So there is a possibility of them becoming a star product because there is enough potential in the market. But it may require heavy investment. So the strategy that the company could take would be pertaining to either invest further in this business or to divest. Dog products have relatively low market share in a low growth market. They would require a substantial amount of investment if the organizations want to cultivate it, but the risk quotient here is on the higher side. Hence, the strategy could be a possibility of divestment or a revamp of its product offerings. These are certain questions that are addressed by each of the quadrants, and companies can come out with strategies pertaining to each of the products in the BCG matrix.